Hi trainers, Professor Seedbed here. If you haven't already seen it, I released a video earlier today on the importance of crystals in spiritualities all over the world. And that got me thinking, I haven't made a Pokemon video in forever. But it also got me thinking, Pokemon has a lot of really important crystals within the game. And those crystals also have magical powers. They evolve Pokemon. Currently, there are 10 main evolutionary stones in the mainstream Pokemon games. And I was wondering if there were any crystals around the world that both looked like these stones and also had many of the same believed properties that these stones might. So let's get to it on this episode of Religion and Pokemon. So our first 5 stones were introduced in the Generation 1 Kanto games. These are the Thunderstone, Waterstone, Firestone, Moonstone, and Leafstone. Because these have been around for so long, we have pretty good descriptions of them, better than the rest of them. So let's hop on into it, starting with our first one, the Waterstone. This stone obviously evolves Water-type Pokemon, like Poliwrath, Cloyster, Starmie, Vaporeon, Ludicolo, and Simipour. It often has a close connection with oceans, sailors, and the water in general. And the stone is blue in color, and it has little bubbles on the inside. So my first thought was the stone Aquamarine. The first documented use of it was in the 4th or 5th century BC in Greece, and in it was Poseidon engraved on a chariot. So that's a pretty good connection to water, if you ask me. So boom, that's our stone, right? Well, I wanted to include something a little special in this stone. And in many crystals, when they form, there's water trapped inside, and they make it look like there's little bubbles whenever you move it. This is called anhydro inclusions. So I would go with an aquamarine crystal with anhydro inclusions for our real-life water stone. Next is the Thunderstone, which evolves Pikachu, Eevee into Jolteon, and Electric. Now this one's tricky, because not only does it have green and yellow coloration, but there's also a thunderbolt inside, and I wasn't able to find any stones that just had that naturally. So what I decided to go with was a rock that was greenish yellow and maybe had some connection to lightning or electricity. So bicolor Tourmaline handles our first 2 very well. It can be green and yellow if you so choose, and it produces a small amount of electricity when heated. But I don't think that we'll be able to get this exact kind of color in nature though, and Tourmaline is often actually manufactured by humans rather than found in nature. So I figured we'd go with a different one, like Rutilated quartz, which is more of a gold coloration, but we can get those crackles on the inside that maybe look like some thunderbolts. And it was closely related to the Greek god Zeus. So we get some lightning, we get some crackles. I think that one might be our winner. Or Tourmaline if you want something man-made. Next, the Firestone evolves Vulpix, Growlithe, and Eevee into Flareon. And I wanted to make this one very simple. It's yellow with an orange inside, just like a light fire might be, and it looks very similar to some types of garnet. And so that's what I'm going with. Garnet. And not just because it has a similar color scheme, but because this is the crystal of Hephaestus, the god of the forge in Greek mythology. Technically just one of the crystals. Often all of the Greek gods have multiple stones and crystals that represent them. But I promise that this is the last time that I'll use a Greek or Roman god in deciding the crystal that would match the Pokemon evolution stone. Next we have the Leaf Stone. Now, this is a stone that is green with a leaf imprint on it, and it evolves Gloom into Vileplume, Nuzleaf into Shiftry, Weepinbell into Victory Bell, and Execute into Executor. Now, because of how this one looks, I thought that it might not be a specific crystal or rock, and instead might be a compression fossil. Now, these are plants that have gotten trapped in stones and over the years leave an imprint or a fossil, which is how a lot of archaeologists know where certain ancient plants grew. So I say if we get a compression fossil kind of in an elliptical stone that maybe is green, then I think we have a winner. Now this next one's kind of cool. It's the Moonstone, and it's how we get Pokemon like Nidoqueen, Nidoking, Clefable, Wigglytuff, Machourna, and Delcatty. And it is one of the many extraterrestrial elements in the Pokemon world. It's a meteorite, or a moon rock in some cases. And in the Pokemon anime, Clefairy and Clefable often worship this rock, kind of like a Betelgeuse. Betelgeuses are often stones that are worshipped in the middle of very sacred spaces. A lot of Romans and Middle Eastern religions have these, and they're often meteorites. So I figured a Eucrates, or a basalt meteorite, which are the Betelgeuses normally, would be appropriate for this real-life parallel, especially since the near side of our moon is about 25% basalt. And if it's a moonstone, then maybe it should be made of stuff that's on the moon. And next we have the Sunstone, and this one's a little bit more difficult, because the sun's really not made of rocks. But in Pokemon, the Sunstone helps Pokemon evolve that are grass type, but in more of a blossoming way. Pokemon like Bellossom, Sunflora, Lilligant, Whimsicott, and all these were actually after Gen 1. So the Sunstone was introduced later in Pokemon, after our first 5 stones. It looks like it has rays sticking out of it, and it's orange in color. So I thought that I'd try to choose a stone that was associated with a deity of the sun, that maybe looks a little orange, like this stone. And I went with carnelian, which was a crystal of the sun god Ra in Egypt. I figured that this would make sense since it's orange and has some connection to the sun. And if we could get it shaped like a Creedite, which looks a little bit more similar, I think that we would have the perfect sunstone. Next we have the Dawnstone, which is typically associated with Pokemon of a specific gender, like the male Gallade and the female Frostlass. And this is blue, so I figured that the perfect stone would be the lapis lazuli. In ancient Egypt, women would wear eyeshadow made of lapis lazuli to gain enlightenment or wisdom. And if in ancient Egypt that represented the wisdom of the fairer sex, maybe it's a similar thing in Pokemon, where this represents the strength through the identification of gender. Next we have the Duskstone, which is purplish black, and it helps dark or ghost type Pokemon evolve, like Mischievous or Lampent or Murkrow or Doublade. And I wanted to pick a stone that was seen as cursed or evil throughout the years, and I found one pretty easily. Opal was associated in England with the Black Plague, and so it was considered cursed. So either we can choose the purple opal from Mexico or the black opal from Australia, and both of which give us kind of a creepy, dark, cursed stone that I think would be perfect for us. Up next, we have the Shiny Stone, which is associated with fairy-type Pokemon, and evolved Pokemon like Florges, Togekiss, Roserade, and Cinccino. It's light and yellow, so I wanted to choose a stone that looked like that was often associated with fairies. So I went with the Highland Serpentine from Scotland. For whatever reason, when I think of legends or even fairies, I think of Scotland or Ireland. And maybe it's the Willows of the Wisp from Brave that gets me thinking about it. But the Highland Serpentine, I think, is our best bet for our parallel. And finally, we have the Ice Stone, which evolves Alolan Sandslash, Alolan Ninetales, Glaceon, and Galarian Darmanitan. Now, the Ice Stone is light blue and has a snowflake pattern on it, so I wanted to pick something that shared those aspects while also was close to maybe something like the Arctic Circle. And that's exactly what I found. I wanted to go with a light blue Spectralite. With those little cracks in it, it kind of makes it look like there are some snowflakes in there. And it's found in northern Finland, which is pretty dang close to the Arctic, if you ask me. What do you think? Did I miss any? Are these 10 stones what you expected, or did you have another crystal in mind? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you have a great day. See ya! Hey, I'm back in a different outfit and haircut. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If so, like I said, there's a companion video right over here. Also, check out some of my other videos if you'd like this one. I've got a lot of really cool stuff down the pipeline that I'm sure that you'd really enjoy. Anyway, I hope that you have a great day, and I hope to see you later. Thank you!